Good morning again after our false start on the other page. I'm back again. Hopefully I'm on the right one this time. Sorry about that, guys. Having a problem with the laptop. It wouldn't let me broadcast, so I had to come onto my phone. And here I am, just setting up here and trying to get myself started. So just bear with me for about 2 minutes while I just make sure that I've got this going out on the right page this time. And then we can get started with our little talk. We're just after 11 o'clock now, so sorry about that, guys. Technical difficulties. Just want to get it up on the laptop, see if I can read the old messages coming in, and then we'll get started. Hope you're all doing well this morning. It's a little bit of a nippy one out there, but look, you know, the temperatures are rising. Spring is in the air. There's new growth coming. Hello, Freddie. Thank you for that, Freddie. Thank you. The laptop was giving me trouble. I had to come onto the phone. And Josephine Dowlings in says hi, Darren. Hi, Josephine. Connected now. Thank you so much. Okay, guys. It's the Dublin Mind Body Experience event, and I'm here talking today about the Hands Around Mother Earth Water Healing Ceremony that we hold each month within the Bridget's Celtic Grove of Illumination. And it's something that has been very close to my heart for many, many years in working with the full moon, working with the ancestors, working with my own grandmother as well, and her being my own guide for many, many years in this work, supported me through thick and thin. So I'm very happy to be here today and to be able to talk to you about this. So what I would like to do is ask you all, if you'd like to post up little questions, anything that you're curious about what it actually entails, and I'll just go on talking, and as soon as I see a question, I'll go in on this question. And Susan Marie Rose in, and Elena Braz is in. Happy spring equinox. Yes, happy spring equinox to you too. And I'll be doing my live ceremony tomorrow night on this page at 8:30. So I'll be on tomorrow night as well, till tomorrow evening, working away on the Dublin Mind Body Experience, and I'm looking forward to having you all join in for our equinox celebration tomorrow night at 8:30. Yes, so just give it another couple of minutes, guys. I know I've been delayed getting onto this page, so I just want to give it a couple of minutes to make sure that I've got everybody in, and then I'm going to get started. Okay, just there we go. Guys, I know I've been delayed getting onto this page, so I just want to give it a switch it on there. That I've got everybody in. Down. Thank you. Don't need the echo. Okay, so we've got some questions coming in already. Suzanne Crawford says, love this, Darren. Thank you for sharing. I'm new to this, most of this, so can't find out. So can wait to find out more. Okay, well, it's interesting because how I came into this work was very much through curiosity, and more so to do with distress and anxiety and depression and a lot of what I would call soul sickness that I carried as a young man from childhood. So it's very much about teaching from my own experiences. I don't go and bring in something from California or somewhere else and endorse it. I can only speak from my own experiences. I don't endorse other people's journey. They can work from their craft and from their history. I work from mine. It's authentic and it's true to me. I can't speak for other people's stories and experiences, so I don't teach from their books and their concepts. I can only teach from what I've experienced personally, and I can only stand over that. So in doing that, I want to explain to you today a little bit about the Grove, a little bit about the full moon, and then about the Hands Around Mother Earth Water Healing Ceremony, which was really the importance of this was really driven home to me when I lived on a very small island called Tenerife some years ago. And while I was there, I was doing my full moon ceremonies. I saw some teenagers out one day, and they were walking along the beach protesting, and they were protesting about the litter in the sea, and they had ropes around their necks, they had plastic bottles, all sorts of stuff, and they were dragging it along behind them on the sand. And I thought it was a wonderful way of highlighting the problem of our seas being polluted. And many years ago, a medicine man I met said to me, Dermot, he says, you do know that, you know, the way that we treat our bodies and each other is the way that we treat Mother Earth. And when you look at the pollution in the seas and the rivers, it's like the pollution and the toxins in our bloodstream. Very same thing. It's a mirror image of us. So when we go through life and we see the way that the weather is treating us and the environment is shifting and changing and becoming so really, really, how would you say, aggressive with us, it's reflecting back something that we're doing to her. So everything is about, manifestation and the power that we have within us to create change. And that can be in a positive way or in a negative way. And at the moment, there's a lot of stuff coming towards us telling us that we need to stop doing something, that we're doing something wrong, and we need to stop. So when I was in my life as a young man and a young businessman, I got stopped. I hit a brick wall. I burnt out. And through that then, I had to find some way of recovering. And without knowing it, I ended up on a spiritual journey to find out what it was I was looking at. As Susanna says there, she's new to all of this. I was new to it as well. 30 years ago, the only healer I knew about was Jesus Christ. And he'd gone 2,000 years before me, So I didn't realise that there was an ability within us, an innate ability within us to heal ourselves. And it's about the relationship with ourselves and how we relate to nature and to Mother Earth and to our environment. So that was all very fine. So went off and done some work on that, and I'm not going to spend the whole time talking about myself, but it's just that I teach from that history and those experiences. So the full moon comes around every 28 days. It's part of the female menstrual cycle, so it controls the female cycle. I remember talking to a friend of mine many years ago, and she was saying that she was having mood swings and difficulties and stuff. And I says, well, you do know that the full moon does impact on your mood. And she says, yeah, but we only get one or two of those every year, don't we? And I says, no, we get 13 moons every year, one every 28 days. She says, what? I says, yeah. And I said, not only that, but it says it impacts on your pineal gland, and the pineal gland controls the menstrual cycle. It's called the master gland. It's also what's called the third eye, the all-seeing eye of awareness, the eye that we use to look into the spirit world and into the other dimensions. And it controls our chemical balance, our chemistry balance, and the way the brain chemistry functions. So it controls our perception of how we see our reality outside of us. So we can be walking around in a semi-altered state of consciousness, or a disconnect, or denial of something. And we can create a permanent state of imbalance. People who suffer trauma do this to survive it. They suppress the memories, but they create a subconscious barrier, which then creates a chemical imbalance within their perception of how they see their reality. So hence we have doctors prescribing medication to try and rebalance the chemistry. It's all about the chemistry. So I discovered that through nature, after more than 10 long years of deep depression and long-term being unemployed and several suicide attempts, I realized that I had an imbalance that needed to be brought into center. So I started looking at the moon and realizing that this had a huge impact on me, because the word lunatic, luna as being the Latin for moon, lunatic, crazy, and you hear about the wolf howling at the moon. I've got my wolf behind me here, which I use for each of the full moons, and I'm wearing my gifted shawl that was made for me from a wolf in Canada that was sadly a roadkill. So the grandmothers made it up for me and sent it over to me here in Ireland from Canada. So you see, for me, working with the moon energy was very much a very important part of me finding my balance, because I had to realize, and I did realize, as each full moon came around, I could see other people getting quite high and going out and celebrating. And at the time I was living in a small little flat in Rathmines, basement flat, and there was lots of students around. So around the full moon every month you could feel the energy rising, the party buzz was on, and it even rubbed off on me. So I realized very quickly that after these highs there would be a deep dark depression, a crash. So I said, okay, well, I need to find my balance. So working with the moon, I realized that I could draw the energy in, but not draw myself out, not be drawn out, but hold the energy and harness it and bring it in. And when we bring this powerful energy in, we have to realize that we can actually manifest and channel that energy to creating change within our lives, within our reality. So what we do each month is we channel our prayers and our intentions into a bowl containing water. We put prayers into it, and we bring that water to our rivers and to our lakes and our streams that run to the sea. Yeah, and so we're healing the rivers, we're healing the seas with the prayers. We're also healing ourselves, because remember, Mother Earth is covered, 2/3 of her is covered with water. We're 80% water. So if the moon can, if she can move, Grandmother Moon can move the seas, 2/3 of that body of water covering our plants, she can move it every day. Just imagine what she does to us. We're 80% water. The Earth's only 2/3 covered, but we're 80%. Okay, so it definitely impacts on us, guys, and that's why it's so vitally important that you do some form of moon meditation every month, and particularly for women, for the menstrual cycle, to keep yourself in sync with the moon and to keep yourself balanced and grounded, so that you're not having these highs and these lows and these mood swings. As I mentioned, my friend had, and very soon after that conversation, things improved quite a lot for her, because she realized that she needed to plan out her few days before the waxing of the moon and the waning of the moon, and she started working with moon medicine, and it had a powerful transforming effect on her whole mental health, which is so vitally important these days, guys. And I've been working online for the last year, supporting people during lockdown, helping them to overcome the mental health challenges that a lot of people went through in the first couple of months of the lockdown, and the impact it was having on people. So lots of people got through it, and we used the moon every month to lift our energy and to raise us up, and we channeled it into positive projects. So there's lots of amazing things that you can do with the sacred alchemy of working within the Grove of Bridget with Grandmother Moon. Okay, let's see what sort of messages we got flying in here. Lots of people coming in saying hello, so we better say hello back. Josephine, the Owling Pickett is on. Hi Darren. Hi Josephine. Freddie says all good. That was the background manager of Dublin Mind Body Experience, looking after me there, linking me into the show. Susan Marie goes on. Well boy. Elena Braza, happy spring equinox, and the same to you. Sheila Karen, hello everyone. Brightest blessings to you all, and the same to you. Donna Mary McGardle, happy spring equinox. Susan Marie Rosen, stand in your bare feet on the earth. It helps the balancing and the grounding at the full. Absolutely, big time. Get your feet out and get your feet on the ground, and let the grass move between your toes. Powerful. Get into a wooded area, because the earthing energy of the trees will support you and bring you down. A lot of people like to do their ceremonies within the woods, and really helps to support you with the standing people, as we call them. Hello Dermot, good morning from the USA. Donna Mary McGardle. That's it. Donna, I think Donna's in Massachusetts. Hello and welcome. Okay, so anyway, I say don't forget, post up any questions that you might have, and I'll be delighted to cover them in my talk. Donna Mary McGardle says, this is so wonderful. Thanks, Donna. I'll just keep on talking and telling stories, and we'll see where we go from there. So the full moon water healing ceremony, I've kind of covered that a little bit, and the idea is that, as I said, healing the seas, healing all the creatures of the sea, bringing things back into balance. That's the work of the shaman. The shaman is somebody who tries to bring harmony and balance, and the harmony and the balance that we need these days, particularly in lockdown, is mental health. The mind, the body and the soul need to be brought into balance. And it's all about the way that we deal with it and the way we see this lockdown. And when we first started lockdown back last March, I said to people, look, let's look at it as a spiritual retreat. And I went live every evening and every morning, and for 60 days we held space together, and we called it a spiritual retreat. We had Circle of Calm in the evenings, and we had Midday Mindfulness at 12. And we continued that on them. We had Stillness Sunday. So these are all groups that we had on Facebook to support each other, and those groups are still active today. The Circle of Calm is on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and Sunday Stillness is on at 11 a.m. on Sunday mornings. So I'll be on tomorrow morning. So they're still ongoing. They're ongoing groups, and reaching out through the Mind Body Experience Dublin today is to try and let more people know that there is support there of this type for you. So getting back to the Grove of Bridget and why we work with the moon each month, and it's all about honouring the goddess, the sacred feminine Mother Earth. So in my work, what I've done is I embraced Bridget, because Bridget to me, for some reason, attracted me hugely during my own work. And again, to do a balance, I grew up in a Catholic tradition, believing that, heaven, God, everything was up there. It was all God, it was all sky, it was all up in the air business. And I had no concept of anything below my head in relation to spirituality. Heaven existed beyond me. It was a place that I would only connect with when I was dead. And while I was alive, I was terrified of going to hell, because hell was down there. And of course, as I looked further into this, I realized, no, hell is not down there. The very connection that I require to bring me into balance, to heal myself, and to see the truth, and to heal my disconnect and my chemical imbalance, was to ground myself. I couldn't ground myself up there. So I needed to go into the earth. I needed to find a way that I could connect in and ground myself within the land. So many years ago, a lady said to me, "Dermot, a heavenly spirit is of no earthly good." And I went, she's right. We need to be grounded. We need to be centered. We need to integrate ourselves into this human emotional body and deal with it. And as you know, we've got the 7 chakras that go right down through the center. And each of these chakras is linked into a gland in our body. And those glands are all part of what we call the endocrine system. And the endocrine system secretes different chemicals into our bloodstream every day based on our responses to outer stimuli. And it impacts on our perception of how we see reality. So there. So if you're not grounded, if you're not in the root, sacral and solar plexus, in the physical, emotional centers, you're in a disconnected reality. And, this is one of the things about bringing people through the process and the rites of passage into your own personal power, into your own personal connection, to be comfortable in your skin with yourself. We talk these days a lot about self-care at this time, and about looking after oneself and having positive regard for oneself. And a lot of us don't practice that, so we have our hospitals jammed to capacity. Even before COVID we had it. Our health systems were collapsing and breaking down, not just here in Ireland, but right around the world. So this is the disconnect. It's causing a dis-ease. And the problem is that people become at ease with their dis-ease, so it becomes normal reality. In my reality, I don't see it that way. I see myself in symmetry. I like to think so. Mind, body and soul connected intuitively, sensing and trusting my gut on all things, and my higher guidance coming in from spirit to guide me. But I wouldn't be able to access the higher guidance and bring it in and manifest the ceremonies that I do if I did not have a connection to the earthing rod of Mother Earth. So my bridge in my distressed time 30 years ago was through prayer, in desperation, looking for help to come out of the darkness. And in that, I had this apparition, and this vision came to me of Our Lady on a particular night, and she manifested beside me, and I had the most profound experience. So from that day forward, I began to realize that Mother Mary was important. It wasn't this churchy Catholic Our Lady thing. It was Mother Mary. She was an essence to me of the goddess. Then Saint Bridget was over on the other side. And then I seen all these stone circles and the way churches had been built on them in many parts of Ireland. And a lot of the work that I was being attracted to was being classed as some form of, devil work or witchcraft. And I had to look at that deeper. And then I realized, okay, Bridget is somebody who I want to reclaim as my goddess. And Bridget being a triple goddess, she's a mother, a maiden, and a crone. The ancient Cailleach, the wise woman, the maiden, the young maiden Bridget. The Cailleach would be grandmother. The mother would be Mother Mary, the 3 aspects of Bridget. And for me, Bridget is a daughter of the Tuatha De Danann. She still walks our land today. She's still alive, she's still there, but she's a deity. She was always part of the Tuatha Dé Danann. For me, she's been a deity, a sacred deity forever. She never physically manifested. She was always here as a deity. And many of the stories attributed to Saint Bridget are actually stories that were derived from Bridget, the ancient legends and stories. So you see, for me, it was very much this whole thing of debriefing myself of a lot of the disconnect about my sexuality, my femininity as a male, my need to be grounded and earthed. All these things had to be addressed and healed. So Bridget and Mary came in, and my own grandmother, very important to me, the three aspects of the Celtic goddess coming in around me, and my own grandmother still to this day guiding me through this work. So you have to understand that from a male perspective, growing up and being programmed and conditioned that way, I know how difficult it is for men to transition through the rites of passage into an empowered male who has a balance of yin and yang, masculine and feminine energy, and can bring that to the table to hold space. Sadly, most men today don't seem to do that, because, as a medicine man said to me many, many years ago, he said, many moons ago, our men became men at maybe 12, 13, 14, puberty time. These days, we're lucky if our men become men by the time that they're 50 or 60. And he said, it's because we no longer practice the sacred ceremonies of rites of passage. There's no ceremony done to properly recognize the empowerment of our young men and young women. So I went and done mine at 40 years of age, 10 years into my work, and realized that I had to do it to make this transition out of some parts of my perception that were limiting me. So when we hold space together within the goddess hands around Mother Earth water healing ceremony with the grandmother moon within Bridget's Grove, we're honouring the feminine aspect of how we need to heal ourselves on that level, and to heal our disconnect from her in the way that she was demonized for generations. We've had women persecuted for generations, right down the line, right to this very day. Women's rights not being honoured and respected. So, we really need to wake up to that reality and change it. Women are angry. We see it recently with the protests in London and around the world. And, where that imbalance is being addressed as we speak. So honouring the full moon through Bridget's Grove is about holding that sacred essence of the feminine as our goddess, as my goddess is your goddess. And there's many different aspects to the goddess. You can have Isis, you can have Aphrodite, you can have Eru, Danu. There's many different goddesses. For me, I've taken on the role of, for the last 30 years, of promoting Bridget as a goddess, not as a saint, but as a goddess who holds something sacred of the ancient ways of Ireland, and she carries that sacred alchemy within her. And she is within all of us. She's within our land. And in working with that, I work with fire. And so talking about the element of water, I'm now going to talk a little bit about the element of fire. And fire is the passion that rises up within us to create. So when we create, it's usually something that comes from within us. It's going to be unique. It's going to be new. It's going to create change. But if that fire is repressed, everything stays at the status quo. So learning how to channel this fire, and as I said recently with the anger that people were demonstrating about that terrible murder in London, it's global. It's not just in London, it's everywhere. And that fire needs to be fed, and that energy needs to be channeled. As one lady said at the protest in Dublin, we are angry. We want to find a constructive way to channel our anger. That's the answer. So when we carry and draw in from Grandmother Moon, the full moon energy down into our circle, we channel that powerful energy that moves the seas every day into our prayers and intentions, and we send them out together into the world to heal the water. And we're 80% water, so to heal us, to heal Mother Earth, to heal the rivers, the streams, the seas of pollution, our disconnect. So it's all about bringing everything into balance again, bringing back and having equal respect for the masculine and the feminine, the God, the goddess. Okay, let's run back through the messages again. There's been more and more coming in there. Let me see. Blessings to all from Patricia Maloney. Hiya, Patricia, welcome. Josephine Dowling Pickett, do you have any literature of your own? I have some stuff which I haven't published yet. It's called The Forbidden Truth, but I'm going to start putting out chapters of it online so you can download it, and that'll be starting pretty soon. Thanks for asking. You can check out on my website, www.dermotoharaonline.com. And you'll find stuff there on Bridget's Grove and other stuff. I still need to update it. I'm dreadful at doing that stuff. But anyway, yeah, dermotoharaonline.com, that'll get me. Okay, and there's stuff there there's workshops there. There's information on Bridget's Flame of Illumination. And there's a 6-week course in meditation on it. There's a 6-week course in Journey of the Drum Shamanic Healing. There's a 1-day workshop in dream interpretation and a few other things there. So check it out. If you go in, you'll find that there's actually events and workshops and classes, and you'll find information there. Suzanne Crawford says, is there any books or further reading you could recommend to find out more? I don't have anything at the moment, but if you message me privately afterwards, I'll pull out a couple of things that I've used for research many, many years ago. Most of what I've been teaching is kind of intuitive and channeled, so it's visual stuff. I was told many, many years ago, I asked a druid from the British Druids Order, I asked her, she was the high priestess there, I said to her, how do I go about resurrecting the ancient teachings and practices of our ancestors here in Ireland? And she said to me, Dermot, there's no written word, as you know, it was mostly oral, so the only place you can go is you go to the stones. The stones hold the memories. So I spent many, many years traveling the country, visiting many of the ancient stone circles over the last 30 years, and drumming and chanting and with them and the stones, and drawing and downloading information that way. So yeah, so Patricia, thanks for that, and Josephine, thanks for that question. Suzanne Crawford, is there any books? Yeah, I covered that. Yeah, Suzanne, I'll check in on these messages later on. I'll get back to all of you with stuff like that. Glad you're enjoying it, Donna. Thanks for that. Okay, so questions are slow to come in at the moment, but there's 2 there. So it's mostly about reading information, and there is some information up on my website. And as I said, The Forbidden Truth, I'll be putting chapters of that up kind of in a blog on the website at some point. So that it'll be interesting to hear comments on that. Bridget's Celtic Grove of Illumination page. This page is dedicated to Bridget and to all the Celtic festivals we hold around the year. And there are 8 of those. And I've been doing them for the last 30 years, promoting the ancient ways in Ireland. And I'm happy to be able to hold that space for people whenever they want to drop in. So do drop in and join in the full moon, this coming full moon, and every other one. It will be live on the page. So do like the page, guys. Don't forget to like the page. So, and hit notifications as well. And that way you'll be notified whenever anything new is coming up. And we're just coming up to 11:30. I'm just waiting to see how people are engaging. And I'm hoping that the information I'm sharing is enlightening for you and is provoking you to want to go further and to find out more about this wonderful practice of working with the full moon, because it's an essential part of our being here and maintaining our balance. Because if we don't acknowledge the impact that the full moon has on us every month, we're really not holding our balance, because you really need to anchor yourself. You talk to anybody who works in security, doormen, people working in hospitals, even in mental institutions, they double the medication coming up to the full moon. Security guys, doormen, they hate it when a full moon hits at the weekend, particularly if it hits on a Saturday night, because they know there's going to be bedlam. A&Es in hospitals become swamped on the nights of full moon. people ungrounded, having accidents, people getting drunk, people fighting. Violence seems to go on the increase. So all the more reason for us to be bringing the energy down and, trying to maintain harmony and to kind of not keep a lid on it, but to channel that energy in a more positive way, that we create positive change here on Mother Earth. So there you go. Just adjusting the angle here because I can see that. There we go. I've cut off one of his ears. So I hope that gave you some insight into what the whole thing is about. Here's somebody else coming in with something. Let me see. Suzanne's come in with a question. What does the ceremony entail of it is harder to do now online? Do I need anything prepared? No, yes. Well, what I do is I ask people to have a bowl of water with them, and simply a candle. I usually I lay out an altar here as well, and I have 4 candles for the 4 directions. I have the bowl in the center with the water, and that's basically it. And you put the water in, and you just you sit online with us. I do the ceremony, and I've been doing these for years. I started doing these online ceremonies when I was in Tenerife years ago. So I've been broadcasting them live now every month for the last probably 4 years. So the thing is, I hold the ceremony, I guide you through, I talk you through it. And while we're holding the ceremony for the water and for Mother Earth, we receive healing also, because it's in giving that we receive. This is the exchange that automatically happens in this world. When you put into life, you get something back. If you're looking at a field and you don't plant any seed in it, you're not going to get a harvest. Your life is the same. You need to work at it. You need to work the soil. You need to prepare the soil. We're now in the time of spring. New growth is beginning. It's vitally important to send your roots down, to prepare yourself for the high energy that's coming in with sun. Because Lug is on his way in. He's getting stronger each day. And Bridget is growing up from this young girl into this beautiful woman. And she's attracting him. She's drawing him in closer every day. And he's shining brighter and brighter. And she's warming up. And she's showing her spring shoots. And her leaves are starting to show. And she's wooing him down. And of course, the fusion of the two of them creating the sacred inner marriage manifests the fruit on the trees. So the birds and the bees. So it's very much about that. So I wouldn't worry, Suzanne, too much about what to do. Specifically, just the bowl of water. You bring it down to a river close to you, something that's flowing to the sea. It can be a stream, wherever's closest to you, where you can get to where there's a body of water, and put it into it. And the idea is that the prayers are united. And there's people doing this type of thing all over the world. And if you ever look at the work of, I recommend you check out Dr. Emoto, okay? Dr. Emoto. He done some amazing experiments on the photography of the crystallization of water. And he showed the different crystals when negative energy was projected onto, like anger, onto water. He took a photograph of it, and the crystal designs shattered. And it's like, when you see the crystal in a snowflake, well, there's more of those in water. And what happens is that when they're shattered, they become damaged, and you can see them broken. The symmetry is lost, the balance is lost. But when there's chanting and love placed into water, the crystals change into the most beautiful, magical designs that you can imagine. All symmetrical and beautiful. So they radiate back to us this beautiful image of love. And that's the power of water. So if we're sending happy, loving vibes to somebody, it changes the structure of their body. It helps to heal them. That's what distant healing does. And I have a distant healing altar here, and I do healing. So even with my intention of holding the ceremony and transmitting support and love in each of the ceremonies live on it, people are getting it. Just because we're not sitting together doesn't mean that it doesn't work, Susanna. I've been doing online work for many, many years, long before lockdown, and it surprised me. Many, many years ago, I was asked by a lady to do a session. She was in Spain, and she said to me, "I want you to do an online session." I said, "I don't do that. I'd never done it before." She wanted to do it on Skype, so she insisted. So okay, I did it, and wow, I haven't looked back since. It's amazing. So anyway, Let's see what else is coming in. Absolutely love this, Dermot. You're a great speaker and so informative. Thanks, Susanna. Glad you're enjoying it. Look, it's all about sharing as much information. My job is to be here. And just before I opened up this morning, I said, work through me to help others. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to be of service to people and to try and support people on their journey, because everybody is on a different path, but we're all going to the same place. And my job is just to help people to learn how to read the signposts along the way and to avoid taking a couple of wrong turns along the way. But you know what? There's no such thing as a wrong turn. Every turn in the path is a learning experience. And when we have a difficult, challenging time like we're going through at the moment, there's a massive learning experience going on. People are starting to wake up. Here we are a year into lockdown, and guess what? We're getting through it. We're getting through it. And people begin to realize, my life has been filled with so much clutter over these years. All the stuff I was running around, like in the rat race, in the hamster wheel every day. Everything has stopped now, and people are starting to have time to reflect. And this is why I was online every day for 60 days, trying to reinforce that within people, and particularly at the full moon, to ground people, to center people, not to spin out into anxiety, into Luna and imbalance, and to be going off and looking for, antidepressants or, whatever they needed to calm themselves down, anxiety tablets, and people over drinking too much and stuff like that. So everything in moderation, guys. Everything in moderation. Josephine Downey, hi Dermot, could you send distant healing to out? Absolutely, I will. To Connor, I'll write his name down now. Connor. I'll put him on my distant healing altar straight after this talk, guys. Okay, I'm losing my wolfie is falling off me. Here, hold on a minute. There you go. Back here. There you go. It's so lovely and cozy and snuggy it is. I can always feel him looking after me. Okay. That's sorted for you, Josephine. I'm just going back through them here. So does it have to be specific water? Should I get it from the river's wells? You can gather it from a sacred well if you want. I use two waters here. I have one which was from Bridget's well in Kildare, which was gathered for me, and I've got other water that was brought home from Lourdes by my late father some years ago. I have a massive big bottle of that, and I use a couple of drops of that in the water as well. So it's Our Lady and Bridget coming together. Yeah, so very powerful, very potent, and the power of water. It's incredible. Hence the church used what was called holy water. You see, even they tapped into it. They knew how to hijack the ancient traditions, didn't they? Ida Turner, Tony says, Dermot, do you record your full moon ceremonies? Find the sun. Yes, they're actually on the page. Ida, if you scroll back, the lives are still up on the page. Oh yeah, Susanna, you could do that as well. It'll give you an idea of what it's like. They're all up on the page on the Bridget's Celtic Grove Illumination page. So if you scroll back and look for videos, they should be in there, and they're up on the page. So scroll back through each of the months, you'll find them. Thanks for that, Ida. I never know whether it's Ida or Ida. The different people pronounce it differently. Okay. Rachel Green says, missed this so well. We'll watch on replay. Thanks, Dermot. Have a great day, everyone. No problem, Rachel. You too. Take care. Don't forget, I'm back on again. I'm doing a couple of other things. Just give me 1 second. I'll give you a list of what I'm doing for the rest of the weekend. Back to you 1 second. Sorry. Yes, I have a full program of stuff. So this is the first talk, full moon, hands around Mother Earth, water healing ceremony. Excuse me. This afternoon at 2:30, I'm giving a talk on the National Ancestral Family Healing Day. And that will be going out again through Dublin Mind Body Experience. And then this evening at 7 o'clock, I'm giving a workshop on discovering the stillness within, okay? And I'll be just bringing people through a guided visualization through the chakras and doing a little bit of healing with you. So that's at 7 o'clock this evening. 2:30, I'll be talking about National Ancestral Family Healing Day, which is an event that we promoted this year, and we launched this. A group of us got together, healers from right around Ireland together, and we put this collective movement together, which was hugely successful, and it's growing year by year. So this year was the first year. We've done it at Samhain, actually last year. Samhain this year again, being the time of the ancestors and of those past. We celebrate the Ancestral Family Healing Day. It's intergenerational family healing. It's about, you know, healing ourselves and the stuff that has come down through the family line and has impacted on us within our families and also collectively on our island. And the workshop, Discovering the Stillness Within, as I said, is about going through the chakra system and bringing you into a place of stillness. And it's particularly effective for people who find it difficult to meditate. This is a system that I devised over the years, and it's quite effective in taking you into a place of calm. Okay. Don't forget, I'll also be doing some one-day workshops and on Zoom coming up soon. All that information is on my website. I'll just type it in here before we finish up, and you can check out the website. Here's the link. I hope it'll come up now. I'd much prefer to be doing smoke signals. There we go. Oh, one finger H. Don't be afraid to ask questions about anything before I finish, guys. Just pop them up there. I'd be delighted. Anything I can help you with, just ask the question. DRRonline.com. There we go. Should do it. Now, just going back to make sure I didn't miss any questions there. Where is all these workshops? The workshops are on Zoom at the moment, Donna, because I'm restricted like everybody else. And but I think if you come on and try out the talks and workshops there, you'll see that they're quite effective. And, you know, I don't let the fact that I'm not actually in the room with the people get in my way. I have this way of connecting, and I'm an intuitive empath. So as people say to me, you know, they feel like I'm sitting in the room with them when I start talking to them, because I can connect in and tune in so deeply into them with the help of my guides. I think I'm just flying back to the start, guys, to make sure I didn't miss anybody's questions. Don't leave anybody out. Okay, now we're all the way in. That's good. And that's the link up. So, guys, Bridget's Grove of Illumination is the name of this page, and you'll also find me, Dermot Shaman O'Hara, on Facebook if you want to link in there. And I just want to make sure I've given out all the information I'm supposed to give out today. Yeah, oh yeah, I'm also available to do private sessions with people. I do them as well, also online through Zoom. And if you check out on the website the testimonials, there's some pretty good ones there about the online work, okay? And a lot of people are still kind of quite skeptical about the way we can work online, but we can. So the rites of passage, I'm just going to finish up by talking a little bit now about Sheila and the gig. And like Bridget, stroke Saint Bridget, being kind of hijacked, Sheila and the gig wasn't hijacked, she was hacked. And what you'll find is that there's a lot of churches that had Sheila and the gigs on the entrance pillars to their churches, and they're actually hacked off. If you ever go into a church and see a piece of stone cut out of the wall or cut off the pillar as you go in, that would have been a Sheila and the gig. And Sheila and the gig is a sacred representation of the vulva, of the feminine. And there's many different, what would they call it, ideas about what Sheila represented. And recently there's been mention of her being St. Patrick's wife and other things. So they're talking about the 18th of March now being Sheila's Day. So Sheila and the gig to me is a sacred gateway. And the ancient Druids believed, and they knew, that this was a gateway through which all of us travelled from the spirit world to this place. So in other words, the feminine, the female, was a gateway, that each woman was a gateway, and she was sacred. She was a sacred gateway to the spirit world. In other words, the goddess was all powerful. She had the power to give life, and she was honored as being sacred because she had the power to give life. Not the man, the woman, the female. So the gateway of birth and of transformation and change and healing and recovering our connection is through the goddess. And to me, Sheila in the gig is a symbol that to me represents this gateway through which each of us needs to travel back through. You know, and it's kind of like, you know, to rediscover the lost innocence of the child's imagination, to visualize and to create and to manifest beautiful experiences, to reconnect with that source of that within us. And this is something that I've spent the last 40 years of my life rediscovering within me, this magical aspect to me that I lost coming here. So you see, going back and honouring and working with Sheila Nagig and with Bridget and the goddess and Mother Earth, it was a rebirth process, a regeneration. And for me, it was about going back and healing a lot of disconnect within, not just within me, but in my intergenerational lineage, right back through my family line, and then through my collective island, the collective psyche of my people. That had been imposed on me as well, and still is to this day, because I see a lot of disconnect around me a lot of the time. And my job is to support people coming back into connect. So to transform, to change, to re-emerge. So that's why I hold what I call the sacred sweat lodge ceremony. And for me, it's like a womb state. You bring people into a rebirth process. You bring them back through the birth canal, back through Sheila Nagig, and back into this reality again. But coming back in a more integrated mind, body and soul empowered way, rather than coming back in a distressed, frightened way. A lot of people don't realise that up to 80% of babies are traumatized at birth, and over 40% of that trauma is extreme trauma. Yeah. So there you go. So almost half the people in the world are walking around today with PTSD and they don't even know it. So hence the disconnect. Yes, fear can be a dreadful thing, false evidence appearing real. So the sweat lodge experience will be talked about tomorrow at 3:05. And in the morning, I'll be giving a talk about the grove itself and going into more detail about the 4 doorways of Bridget's Celtic Wheel of Illumination and the rites of passage through that. It's a full year program that I teach. And tomorrow at 5:15, I'm doing Journey of the Drum. That would be a shamanic journey, with working with the drum and explaining how that works and taking on that. And then at 8:30 tomorrow evening is the spring equinox live gathering on here. It's a ceremony for the equinox. Okay, so do check out all that stuff over the next few days. I'm sure all the stuff is up on the schedule on the Dublin Mind Body Experience website page as well. Let me see what more questions are coming in, because I'm just coming up to 12 and I said I wouldn't go over the hour. Should have got some water here. I forgot to get it this morning. I had to just jump around and change things around a little bit. Let me see what we have here. Donna Mary McGarrett says, I'm so grateful for the online events for me to connect and grow, especially with others like you thousands of miles away. Donna, we're all connected no matter where we are on Mother Earth. That's the reality of it. We're impacting on our reality collectively together no matter where we are in the world. So lovely to have you with us, Donna. What part of the world are you in anyway? Let me know where you are. Susanna Crawford says, thank you so much, Dermot, again. I can't wait to do my first ceremony and continue my journey. I have no more questions, but I think of any I'll mess. You do, Susanna, absolutely, no problem at all. And as I said, check out the website. There's a lot of information up there which might help you and give you an insight as to how I work, particularly the work around advanced core illumination, integration, healing. That's the work that I do online with people and teach. Okay, lads and lasses, thank you so much for joining me this morning. I hope you found that fun and informative, and as I said, has sparked off questions, things to ask and things to look into. And if you've got any further questions during the day, don't hesitate to contact me. And I'll just check the schedule again just to remind you. Today at 2:30 I'll be talking about intergenerational healing, how we're all impacted by the generations gone before us and how we can address that in the National Ancestral Family Healing Day here in Ireland. So if there's no more questions that come in, I'm going to sign off for now. And again, don't forget the website, dermotoharaonline.com. Don't forget to like the page, guys. Bridget's Celtic Grove of Illumination. Promote the goddess. Goddess is rising everywhere. Blessed be the goddess. Mary Beth Brooks' blessings to all. Thank you. Namaste. And the same to you, Mary Beth Brooks. And to all of you out there, have a wonderful day. Gur Magat Slán Akarja. And I shall see you all again later on today at 2:30 for National Ancestral Family Healing Day. And that will be coming from the National Ancestral Family Healing Day page. But it will be posted up also on the Dublin Mind Body Experience website as well. So once again, thank you so much for joining me this morning. Hope you enjoyed that. And let's see you all again very, very soon. Take care.